Welcome to the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast, where community, technology, and stories converge.
We're going to live dangerously. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. It's our end-of-week get-together. This is Colin Hamill, and with me I've got Josh, Manoj, and Tom. And before I hit record, we're just talking about our week, and just let's go around the horn. Like, does anyone actually? Anyone able to make this week's class, the session on it?
Yes.
This is the first one I've missed because I had I was actually, the whole family was sick. Tom, have you made it to any of the new ones?
No, Tuesdays are a hard day for me. So I have them on my calendar. I was telling Bob Zhang, I've got them on my calendar. I'm going to try to make one coming up, but generally it's a day that gets pretty busy for me.
I don't know why everyone schedules things for Tuesday.
Well, it's probably because nobody likes to do it on Monday when they're first back from the weekend, and so Tuesday's kind of the unofficial start to the week.
I will second that observation. When I was working at Sirius, it was that the rule of thumb that I sort of came to understand was Mondays and Fridays were when you did your weekly meetings, your update meetings, the webinar things where people were. We have a robot joining us.
I signed up for it accidentally, and now I can't figure out how to stop it.
He seems like a trusty fellow. Welcome, Joshua's note taker. Can you talk?
No, it can't.
Well, as far as we know.
Feel free to kick it.
No. We got to treat them right, especially when we made them humanoid robots that we're now inviting into our homes. Treat them kindly and say please and thank you, just in case. But no, Tom was saying that this is nice. That what we found was that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were when you actually did meetings, and if they were on site, Wednesday, Thursday were preferred because of, this is in the before times. You actually had to get on a plane and fly to a place and get a hotel room just so you could have an in-person hour-and-a-half meeting. And then, they tried to schedule a whole bunch of them together. But, as the company grew, so too did the territory, where I was the SE for Maryland. That was it. I if you needed someone on site for a Virginia, Maryland, or heavens forbid, Pennsylvania meeting, that was me. And that means that, it was within driving distance, but it was never fun when you were scheduled for like a 10 a.m. morning meeting in Northern Virginia, where from where I live, have to get past Baltimore and Washington, D.C. So that was like a 6 a.m. or earlier leaving, because they're not going to pay for a hotel for the night before. Yeah. And my favorite was when we would get calls about halfway through the drive that the customer canceled at the last minute because something came up. And now it's, I guess I'll turn around and just go home.
Well, at least you didn't get all the way there and have to turn around.
Yeah. You're right. I think I skipped a toll that I would have paid if I hadn't turned around in time. Yeah. But now, could you guys just share a little bit, like, what did you guys think of the session, the talk like a nerd, without sounding like one? How did that go?
You mean Tuesday's session? This Tuesday's?
It was this
past. Oh yeah. It was Tuesday. Yeah, the top. It was okay.
Was that Josh? Who was the speaker?
It was. Oh God, I forgot. Yeah, Josh. We have his book. It's in the other room, and I don't want to run away.
It. Yeah.
Hey, Vivek.
Ben.
Hello, Vivek. How are you?
Hey.
Here, put your hood up so you match the movie poster.
Joel.
Oh yes.
Joel.
I gotta look mean too.
Joel Ben.
You're right. It does look like you're playing dress up. You're a Halloween costume of that character because he's very popular.
Wait, I gotta put on my colorful. I'll be right back. I'll put my colorful shirt on.
There we go. Well, actually, I appreciate Vivek saying that, because again, I was using AI to generate different versions of like costumes. Basically, whatever your guy's LinkedIn profile picture, I'll get you onto the Discord, because I have digital avatars like this one.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So I have this. Well, again, I and my good friend ChatGPT have a ongoing conversation where I've managed to establish a look and feel that we are maintaining. And so whenever I ask it to generate a picture of like Tom and I, like right now, I'm going to be using Josh, myself, Manoj, Tom, and Vivek's avatars, upload those five files into a ChatGPT prompt and say, hey, generate a podcast thumbnail image using these characters. So because at the beginning it would merge people together. It couldn't handle that. So, but I found if you do that, so, and then Vivek a few weeks ago started wearing the Hawaiian shirt, just like as if to prove, yeah, there we go. It's, I always wear this sort of shirt. That's sort of my shtick. He has one too, but then he wore a hoodie and he ruined it. So I created a new version and he said, I look like a kid playing dress up. And so I tried to make the most badass version of it I could think of. I'm like, make it like a movie poster about, and then I used like your business. It's supposed to be nonsensical. It's, protecting the cyber and business opportunities. And this is the result that I sprung upon him. Yeah, do you guys want to run through your elevator pitches? How did that go?
It went okay.
Do you want to try it again? Because I missed it, so I'd love to hear it.
So Josh, you take the lead. I know that I volunteered there, and so why don't you take the lead?
Well, actually, to be fair, since I'm the one asking, how about I go first, and
Sure.
I'll try to drop mine on it. So we're in an elevator. Ding. Someone asked what you do. Well, that's a great question. So I want to ask you a question. How long do you think it takes for a cyber attack to happen? Wait for them to give a very wrong answer. It's actually a little higher than the answer you gave. It's actually 4 to 6 months. People are usually surprised by that. What the real problem is that once hackers get into the environment, they are incredibly talented at hiding amongst the legitimate workloads. That's the problem that my platform, the Guard Tower platform, is meant to solve. It's an early warning system for cyber attacks. And if you're interested, I can show you a live demo where I can catch attacks in the earliest stages in less than a minute. If that's something that's interesting to you, here's my card. There's a QR code. You can scan it to schedule a demo. Have a great day. Scene. What do you guys think?
That's great.
Yeah. Sounds very familiar.
I have the benefit of having gone through not only this cleverest, but also we're now in year 4. So one of the things, and again, this is one of the reasons why I would strongly encourage everyone to make use of the MIC. There's a refinement process that comes by going through. There's a lot of classes. This is the end result of a lot of work. So, but yeah, do you think that would be effective, or this is weird talking to my peers about this, but it's actually probably better. Does anyone have feedback?
Colin, I have one question.
Sure.
It's great, but I come from different background, and then at this stage of my life, I thought let's start a business. So I've been in academia, government, and also in industry. So I always seem to think, if you say that you have a product that you want to sell, how can I be sure, even though I agree with you that you have a great product, that yours is unique, you are the only one? I mean, if I have to buy your product, how can I be assured that maybe there are other 10 guys who may have similar or better than you? So that is where I get fuzzy.
No, great question. So how do I differentiate myself from the how many different cybersecurity products are there today? Hundreds if we're lucky. My answer to that is, how do I differentiate? It's the live demo. For me, it's the fact that I can quite literally, if I wanted to, because I'm actually on the computer that would allow me to do this, I can do a live demo and show you me doing this. It's not just if anyone hasn't seen this before, I'm not going to run through it again, but this is my differentiator. In my experience from working in the IT industry again for 20 years, if you were to ask to see a live demo of one of the big, like a Palo Alto or a CrowdStrike or something, can they give you a live demo? Yes, but it's going to take time to set up. You're going to have to schedule the efforts of someone who it's a very technical demo. You would need a me, and there's a waiting list for that. And also there's a matter of, and I know when I was at my last role, it was about opportunity size. It would be well, how big is this customer? And if you had the audacity to be a small company that couldn't afford a multi-million-dollar solution, you're never going to see a live demo because they're wasting their time. Does that answer your question? Like the fact that I can show it, and I can show it in a way that even a less technical person, a non-technical person, frankly, will understand what I'm showing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Awesome. Great question.
Yeah.
All right. With that, Manoj, do you want to go second now? Since I've done it?
Yeah, sure.
Go
So
for it.
we are building a technology for cybersecurity that uses quantum solution, we call it quantum inspired, quantum augmented, um, to do cybersecurity in general for different verticals. We are targeting primarily data centers and then the healthcare segment first. So most of you probably know already that quantum is coming. That's talk of the town. Last Tuesday evening, there was a big quantum get together at MIC. So many people don't know yet quantum, but quantum is coming. So we need to be ahead of the game. We in general in the US, other countries are also catching up in quantum. So we are using quantum technology, quantum computing to solve cybersecurity problems. One of the issue in the quantum world is how do you validate and make sure that it's quantum proof, your solution is quantum proof. So there are products out there, what I call a rental space. It's in AWS, Amazon Web Services bracket, and then NVIDIA also. It's called NVIDIA CUDA-Q, and then IonQ also has it. So there are three very prestigious platforms where they send your algorithm computation to third party and they test it out. And so there is no single fit for all. So you have to be specific about data centers, what kind of data they get end-to-end flow, and then what are the vulnerability spots for a data center where a cyber hacker might attack, and so you make that more robust. And so we are in the process of, we are past MVP. We have some solution in the simulation stages, and you're working with Maryland Tech Council to get to some data centers, 3 data centers that we have selected to do our testing, validation, and initial deployment. So that's where we are.
Cool. So I think that was a long elevator ride.
Sorry about that. I kept talking.
Stories.
I still don't. Manoj, I still don't understand what your quantum product is. I know it's software.
Yeah.
But are you quantum detecting quantum attacks? What is the cybersecurity dimension to what your quantum product is doing? In playing, I'm a dumb person, so just
No, that's a great question. Yes, so we will our product, it's a piece of software, of course, it's a SaaS product, so it will detect quantum attack. And it not only that it will detect a quantum attack, it will secure the system, your computer network and systems, which could be potentially be attacked uh, by a quantum enabled hacker. So that's what we do. And the reason it is important is the more sensitive the infrastructure and, for example, CDC, genomic data, etc., or a power grid, more vulnerable you are, and you could be attacked by a hacker which has the quantum capability. Because one of the underlying thing behind quantum is computation could be exponentially fast, and so your encryption could be broken very easily, and
Right.
that is why the infrastructure. So you got to so the little guys, they are not gonna worry too much, but U.S. defense, healthcare, data centers, power grid operators, critical. What I mean is, like the hacking we had in North Carolina. So those are the major infrastructure or blockchain financials where there is a high potential that those infrastructure could be hacked by a potential quantum
So,
hacker.
so I'm trying to understand how you can do that
Uh,
from a SaaS platform, because software as a service, you're hosting the software in your infrastructure, and you're letting some, like the Zoom platform, right? We log into it and Zoom connects us through the browser. Are
mhm.
you putting, it seems like the only way you can do what you're doing is actually looking for a quantum attack against the PKI certificates that are in the browser or being used to set up a web session. Like now we're HTTPS. In this session, are you examining the cryptography at the ends to see if it's been broken, if there's a man in the middle attack?
Yeah, so there are 3 or 4 suites of software. We have one of, on the top is quantum random number generator. So you generate, so all this entire cryptography, the way encrypted is based on the random number generation, and the classical machines only use 0, 1, and I mean binary. If you do it a quantum way, then if there is a potential hacker who is going to attack you, he can quickly break into your system. So you will have the ability. I mean, your piece of software is going to have the ability um, to catch that guy, and then um, again through quantum computing, be able to provide a solution.
So are you running a quantum computer?
No, we are routing it through AWS to a quantum computer to get our simulations done. So we personally don't have direct access to it, but there are NVIDIA and AWS allows you to do that.
Just if
And
I
are
can
you
ask real quick, is it a
Yeah.
so to my knowledge, do we as in like humanity have an actual functional quantum
Quantum,
computer that you
yes,
can actually use that's
yes,
okay?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not a lot of qubits. I mean,
Okay.
30?
China has developed them, yeah, 30 or 50 or something. It's in the tens
Yes, they're not
of
that many.
qubits.
Yeah,
Okay.
NASA
Yeah,
has
I
it.
just wanted to ask
Yeah.
because it's like a lot of the
At least
things,
for
and this is the
commercial
challenge I
products.
would imagine so I feel like quantum is the next AI, which was the previous big data, which was the previous Web 2.0 blockchain, where there's going to be the architecture, and then there's the reality. And I imagine you in academia are much closer to the reality, so that's interesting to hear. So thanks for.
So this question came up, and Vivek was there. He might remember one person asked this: how does this quantum relate to AI? Is this next AI? And that person, the panel gave a very good. One of the panelists gave a very good answer that consider AI as a light bulb and quantum like a laser. So AI essentially aids. Yeah, AI is like you're tuning, you're guiding, you are telling the guy do X, Y, Z, and it quickly, understands what you're looking for. So AI is your engine, but quantum is still specialized. So you can aid your quantum computation by plugging it with the AI and say, hey, go do X, Y, Z. But still, quantum computing is highly specialized. The math and the theory behind it is complicated. And even though you put down and write your algorithm, it needs to be solved on a quantum machine, and you route it through third party to the third party. What I mean through
So
this, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, no worries.
I have to leave at 11:30, but I wanted to get back to Colin's initial question was about an elevator pitch, and the whole intention of an elevator pitch is to help someone who is not a quantum expert understand the value of your product. And I can't do it now after you talked and explained it all. And I couldn't do it before, but I can't do it now. And I'm still vague. So I think to be one of the, I know you're in the cohort, but one of the things you really have to, I mean, I'm a technical person, but I'm not a quantum person, right? And so the investors or the partners you're going to be talking to are not deep into this field, and they need it. They need a simple explanation. It's 30 seconds.
I fully agree. I totally agree.
And so,
yeah.
one of the, just give you an example. One of the things I had to do for Hopper was I created a little video, and there's a community on Reddit that's called Explain It Like I'm 5, ELI 5. And so I have an ELL5 2-minute video that explains what Hopper does from the standpoint of children's blocks, Lego blocks. That's something you don't need to replicate what I'm doing, but you need an Explain It Like I'm 5 story for your product.
Yep. Fully agree, Tom. And
Tom, thank you so much. I didn't know about that, and I'm looking at it right now. I would say that every single person in our field should probably try to go through this process. I know I am now going to be doing it, because the theory, if you can explain it to a 5-year-old, you should be able to, we hope, explain it to a venture capital investor.
Yeah, and I know you're not selling into, a consumer market. You're selling to fairly bright people and engineering backgrounds and businessmen, but still, they're so overwhelmed with so many different things. There's so many different technologies and stuff out there, and everybody's going to be saying quantum, 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 just like they say AI. And you've got 30 seconds, and you've got to be really simple and clear. And I say this because I have that problem. I'm still not simple and clear.
And I will, again, I will agree with Tom that at the beginning, we competed in the same pitch competition, and so I understood kind of but it was I had the light bulb moment when you were actually running through the demo, and as you did that refinement, very similar to mine, where I used to need 45 minutes to explain what the heck I was trying to do. Just to keep this moving, because I really value everyone's input. There was a thing that we did during the enterprise training. They called it a plus delta. This is for peer review. We would go around the horn on the table, and everyone had the task. You had to say one thing that you liked about the person's presentation and one thing that you would change. And so it's because you don't want to be really digging into people, because then people get defensive. But when you say, I would have done it like this or something like that, it suddenly, over the course of the 2 or 3 day program, by the end, we were saying I would change nothing. But it was a really, really quick roundabout. So if everyone's up for it, I'll do that so we can get through everyone. But as I liked about where you talked about quantum and how it was important there, the thing that I would change was I would really simplify it. And what I would do is actually, we're recording this, so if you can get a transcript of what you said, I would put it into a Word document. And this is what I did, is literally take a stopwatch on your phone and read it. Not like you're presenting it, just read it. And that's where once you actually start timing yourself and you realize, like you said, I'm past 30 seconds, and it is so much easier to remove. I have to delete, because you realize that, like, holy crap, 90% of this material has to go, or this is important. How can I say this a different way? You refine it, like almost like a blacksmith. And then at the end, when you can say, yeah, I can give it in 30 seconds, then you memorize it, and then you don't have to think in a way. So that's what I would do. That would be my delta. Josh?
Yeah.
What did you like?
I'm
just saying, what was one thing you liked about Manoj's elevator pitch and one thing you change. Just real quick. It can be simple.
I mean, I'm just going to harp on the same thing. You can say quantum is a word people have heard, but don't really know about. And I believe it was Einstein who said, if you claim you understand quantum, then you don't know what you're talking about. I think I'm paraphrasing it. It will never, ever be a simple explanation, because it's so contrary to our lived experience that it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you can just simplify things. It's magic as far as people are concerned.
Yeah. I mean, treat it as magic. It is a word that people are aware of. You don't have to explain what the word means. Just move on from there.
Yep. And real quick, so Tom, would you want to do your elevator pitch real quick, just so we can catch you?
Sure. Off the cuff. I have to get my head in the right frame of mind for that, but I'll shoot. So, Hopper is a cybersecurity technology company. We build a software product called a workload security proxy, a WASP for short. And this proxy binds itself to other application software, and it protects the access to that software, sort of like you have passwords and usernames today for your personal use. Machines have the same type of thing. And so what our proxy is doing, it is automatically hopping the access credentials to that workload continuously at a high frequency. And that creates a moving target defense that a threat actor can't defeat or bypass. And so we add security to application networks and zero trust security as well.
Good. Like it. It was Chris. So plus, I liked it was Chris to the point. Again, you're really refining it. It's getting to be more interesting. The Delta, the one thing I would change is to have a call to action at the end that's a next step, as opposed to just stepping off the elevator and never talking to that person again. That's the only thing I would add, is give them something, a next step for them to follow.
Great. Thanks.
Josh?
Elevator pitch or critique?
Just plus Delta. One thing you liked, one thing you change.
I mean, I have a good understanding. I think I have an understanding of what you do. And it was generally, I think you could, I'll say, practice it more, but like you said, you had to get into the mindset.
Okay.
So you put on that.
Yeah, great. Again, I'll have the same, I have the same comment like I had for you, Colin. My brain starts, if I'm new to this, his technology, then I want to compare in my head. So how are you unique than maybe 3 or 4 other guys who may may come close to you?
Sure. All right. Vivek? Plus?
Yeah, so I mean, plus, of course, it's becoming a lot more clear to understand. One thing that, and this is just something that I've been trying to work on my own pitch, is that I want to take almost all the technology stuff out of it and instead talk directly to the problem, right? Like mine is of course a data processing AI tool that I'm building for real estate, but I'm trying to not mention any of that until all the way at the end. And so start off with the problem, say what the issue is, right? Really simple terms, like you're talking to a 5-year-old. But then at the end, you can then say, hey, we are Hopper, and we're moving target defense company, and this is how we solve the problem, something like that.
Great. Tom, so if you have to jump, but Tom, thanks for your feedback and for being a good sport to go through it. And Tom, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
You
Tom.
too. Right. Bye-bye.
All right. So Josh, you're up.
I'm Josh Boutwell, and
We're in an elevator.
Yeah. Did you know a typical server hack costs a company about $10 million? And on average, 1 in 5 companies are attacked every year.
Wow.
And so the problem is all the data gets stored in databases, which when your systems get compromised, the adversary has access to it. What Mimir Security is doing is we developed a technology to crush any server database into indistinguishable little packages, making it impossible for the adversary to get anything. while at the same time being transparent to your end users.
Cool. It's 41 seconds. I'm just timing it.
Yeah.
So
so the problem is I don't have a demo. I'm not sure I have a call to action.
well, you've preempted my delta, but that was So I liked that it was a storytelling. You were using, to me, accessible descriptive language that a less technical person would be able to visualize in that. And the delta was just to learn a little bit more about what the product is. And I know that's still, in development, and the call to action, but that'll come with time. But no, Manoj?
Yeah, so there are other products like Microsoft, I believe, vulnerability scanner, or let's say Google AI, et cetera, and some of them might claim are able to secure the databases.
They're
So how
monitoring it.
they're monitoring and not securing?
Nope.
Okay, good. So that's the only question I had.
So what was one thing you liked about it?
I'm familiar with databases. I work on the federal side as a federal contractor with databases a lot. So I love the fact that you're trying to secure it, because once a hacker can penetrate through your database, then it has a lot of schema tables. All the sensitive data could be hacked. So I like the fact that he's doing it.
Okay. And any deltas?
Yeah, like he said, the only delta I could think of is in people who are a little bit less familiar might think that there are other tools out there, the big guys, they are already taking care of it, and but maybe they are not. So you want to make it crisper so that you can distinguish yourself.
Cool.
Because very real quick, I had this similar question. So I had a Maryland Momentum Fund. I applied, and the guy really ripped me apart. And he had these tough questions. Well, my vulnerability is it does that. It does.
Yeah.
So he's in his head, he thought probably anything that I'm trying to do, it's already done, or someone is already doing in some shape or form. So I wasn't fully prepared to answer those kind of questions.
Well, that resonates with me because I'm picturing the person that you were talking to, because there's a very much an archetype, that person. It's usually the IT manager, the head of technology, who has built the world in his own image, and is very, very proud of every single piece of it, just like a classic car that he's built. And heaven forbid you imply that any part, I learned this the hard way, and I saw it in person, where people get remarkably unreasonable about which backup software they use. And you can laugh at that, but you will not succeed in displacing certain tools. And I've run into that a little bit, where, because again, we did not invent deception. We had a member, Vivek knows, Gordon Long of LegioX, he did deception as well. He just did it on the endpoint. It was like a peanut butter and jelly approach, where guard tower was network attached, his was on the endpoint. We didn't invent deception, and deception is a bullet point on a number of different enterprise products that are available. Commvault Backup can do honeypots. They say that if you have the right enterprise edition, you can have like 6 or something like that. But they have the checkbox that, oh, I have that. What I usually have found, though, that if you probe a little deeper and ask, do you have those features turned on, they might not be aware of it. And also, that's really where I guess I'll turn this out. How many on this group has a business model that is predicated on displacing in some form or fashion an existing solution? Or are we all solving novel? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you use my widget, you no longer need to have these other products. Did anyone hear that part of their pitch?
So my dream product, which I really don't know how practical this is, literally
seldom are.
literally would take the existing tech stack and sort of wrap my thing around it.
Universally?
Yeah.
That is a happy dream.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know how practical that is in reality. I imagine I can do
It's
small scales, sure, but after a while, people will have to code for my thing.
well, and correct me if I'm wrong. The problem of encryption is that only one person or one there can only be one person doing the encrypting. You can't, one person encrypts the data, then the next person encrypts that data. Now it's unreadable to the first person. It messes with things. And it was really a question of, like, we had storage systems that, were very expensive. And so you'd want to do things like deduplication. And so there are data sets like backups or where you're backing up mostly the same data over and over and over again, where it's highly efficient to deduplicate it. If the backup application was doing its own encrypted data cannot be deduplicated. And so therefore we had instances where we had to way oversize because the customer had made a software decision like, I'm going to do my encryption in SQL. Okay, well, now your SQL database is going to take up the full 10 terabytes. So now you need to buy this much more very, very expensive disk. So there was it sounds silly, but
No, it doesn't.
But for me, that's where again, I'm always thinking of things in terms of there's going to be a computer of some sort.
Oh yeah,
running the software.
With my system, the computer is everyone's individual browser.
Okay.
It's a distributed system.
What were you doing? What would you work with a hosted virtual desktop that's running in a?
It's using WebAssembly within the browser. So there's a sandboxed environment inside the browser that provides essentially mimics the server's API.
The browser on the endpoint that the human is using, or the browser on the endpoint of the virtual desktop that they're connected? I'm trying to visualize this.
The browser the human is using.
Okay, that's always important. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Now, if you logged into a virtual environment and using a browser there, it'll be that browser.
Right.
So one thing I just want to ask, like, is there any element you can add to it, like an attack that recently happened that existing solutions would not have caught? Like, and this would depend on who you're giving the elevator pitch to, right? Because if you know
that's
that
actually my investor presentation, I update the intro slide for a hack that happened in the last month.
Isn't it a sad state of affairs that you have to update your slide deck because the scare slides are out of date?
Yeah.
Oh, all of the data being stolen by the State Department? That's old news. Wait till you hear about where the internet just broke.
Yeah. X number of hundreds of thousands of people had their data stolen, and this happened last month.
I was going to say, that doesn't narrow. Can you narrow it down a little bit? There was a breach in the healthcare system. Can you narrow it down? It's,
So guys, I'm actually pitching to, I mean, the product is for health tech. The NIH, actually, I think it's the NIH, I forget which, but there is a website for, apparently you have to report HIPAA violations that have 500.
That's why I love HIPAA, because, if you don't buy this stack that can do this, you will go to jail, basically, and pay huge amounts. Manoj, you had something to say real quick?
I was going to say, on any... sorry, go ahead, Josh.
The HIPAA violation thing gets reported and published. Yeah. And so I just go to that website and pick the one that's over 100,000 events in the last month. And that's
pretty smart.
Yeah.
The public reporting gives you data that is not, it's sad.
It hasn't been updated since September for some strange reason.
So I was going to just add this. In any, let's say the problem that Josh is trying to solve, or my stuff, applying quantum for cyber. Okay, people get a general idea. Yeah, I have heard quantum. Yeah, cyber is an issue. Then they drill you down. So when you take your elevator pitch, or let's say pitch deck, over a 6-month period, it's a very simple process, and present it to 50 different audiences. And that's how my brain works. And then
Oh yeah.
you will be hit with some common questions and some unique questions. Then you start thinking, you take notes. Yeah, that's what I had not think of. And eventually you will converge, you will be better. So that's my style. Like I always say that in August, I went to a Las Vegas and big AI conference. They had quantum. So I talked to some investors, some technical folks. I had one just last Friday. The reason I wasn't here, I had a meeting with Data Tribe. Then I get coaching by another investor. Those guys are helping me
Yeah.
out. So they record. And today I wasn't prepared actually. I just, jumped into this meeting. So that's why I went long. And so I collect all these thoughts. So Data Tribe folks, they're very technical. So they had given me 30 minutes. And then I told you with Maryland Momentum on that guy was, so once I have like a rough ride, I really enjoy that because that forces me to think that the reason I'm having a rough time is because I didn't think about that. And so that's how I improvise.
I could not agree more. And actually, that's the value that one of the reasons I love having these conversations is everyone on this call is very, very smart. We wouldn't be here if we were smart. I cannot think of everything. No matter how smart you are, there's always going to be that. And that's why I'm a terrible coder. It's always those one little tiny details that, next thing you know, there's memory leaking all over the place. And there's a segmentation fault and the whole thing crashes. That's, oh, shoot, a little detail like that and the bridge falls down. It's just here, it's magnified. And so we refine. And because it's really hard to find a peer group where we can use the vernacular of cyber, of quantum to a better extent.
Yeah.
And actually, the fact that there's a lot of quantum people here, I actually look forward to hearing you talking about quantum because I've also learned that if you listen to smart people who know it and then you imitate what they say and learn enough to be dangerous and just speak with pure confidence, it's remarkable.
I learn every day. So in September, I told you I attended they had a quantum roundtable. So they had invited, it was by invitation only. There were about 8,000 plus people in that conference.
Right.
So I somehow got in. And so there were about 20 folks, mostly investors from Silicon Valley, some techies, and there is a venture VC called Qubits Ventures in Pasadena, California. He was leading everything. So a lot of my fundamental knowledge, even though I'm doing quantum or cyber, came from that roundtable. And then Vivek knows this. The other day, last week, we had these three guys in the panel of quantum 3. So those guys really went deep into the theory and everything else. But then my question is, we are here to build a business.
Right.
Those guys were talking purely, academic style. I'm not interested in writing another paper. I have left that world. I'm here to make money and
to sell widgets.
build a technology that I love.
Widgets.
And so, so that's why my question was like that. But still, those three panelists, at least two of them, he's the chief scientific officer of IonQ. And then one University of Maryland director of research or something. These guys had a lot of brain power in terms of deeper knowledge about quantum. So when I saw the back and forth Q&A and their presentation, that gave me wealth of, new information that I had not dived deeper into. So that's how your knowledge grows.
It does. And I'll just share again, this is my experience. The one thing that I hope that we do some is we had it last week about how not to talk like a nerd is, so one of the things that, and this is relevant for a call I'm going to hopefully have either later today, is how to talk in a way that your audience understands. And so I was sitting on a cybersecurity job panel. We were at a high school down in Anne Arundel County. I was hoping it was Howard County, but it's right next to it.
I live in Anne Arundel County. Tell me which high school.
Oh, I have pictures that I've forgotten. Phil Rogowski from the Maryland STEM Festival invited me. And as part of my, here, there we go. This was part of my swag.
Okay.
He always has great hats. but I was sitting on this panel and I'm looking down and it's always this imposter syndrome of, oh my God, why am I here? You know, these people have lots of letters after their names. They've worked for very official government agencies dealing with cybercrime before there was cybercrime. They're in the trenches and I'm just a guy. And I was listening to some of the answers that I heard. I was on 2 panels. One was in person, one was remote. And this guy, I can't even remember, I won't say what his name was, but he was very, very smart. I could tell because I didn't understand anything he was saying. And I almost wanted to like send a message as like, we're talking to 15 and 16-year-olds here, and you're talking in acronym cyber speak as if these were IT professionals, you know your audience. Now, not everyone's cut out to talk to high schoolers.
So, Colin, let me add something. Sorry to interrupt. Years ago, I used to be a full-time faculty, civil engineering faculty at work.
What grade? So, actually, if you don't mind me asking, what post-grad, graduate,
Research.
High school,
research
middles, elementary.
at Morgan State. So research faculty teaching master's, PhD,
Okay.
undergrad, all classes, and then supervising, PhD thesis, master's thesis, etc. So one of the jobs we had to do was to go to the area high schools and talk about why civil engineering is important. You should pursue a career in civil engineering to these 11th and 12th graders. So each faculty had to take turn. And I remember visiting some of the Baltimore area high schools.
Right.
And so, I'll have 30 or 45 minutes presentation about, civil engineers build bridges. We do wonderful stuff. You feel good about it. And the kids are listening. And then Q&A, they'll ask, well, how much money do they make? And you make less than EE or computer science. And, so they already have an idea. So you're trying to motivate them to pursue civil engineering versus something else. So that was always a challenge.
More fun engineering. Then the boring engineering where you get to build big things is Meade High School.
Yeah. Meade High. That's where my daughter graduated from.
So I'm gonna take the opportunity to read this. So we're speaking with this young man. I invited Vivek. This made my day. So I spoke again. I must have hit the mark and been memorable. Because first off, when you're talking, I noticed that people weren't, I was the last one to go, and I saw that people were on their devices. So I was like, I did my, hey, raise your hand if you think it's this long, raise your hand if it's this, raise your hand if you weren't paying attention, or something like that, which I got an audible chuckle out of teenagers. And I'm like, yes, I'm in. I had this shirt on, so I stood out on there. So this is from, so Dear Mr. Hamill, my name is Mohammed Berry, and I'm a 17-year-old junior at Meade High School. You came to our school today to talk about cybersecurity, and what you said really stuck with me. Over the last year, I developed a deep passion for artificial intelligence, computer science, and cybersecurity. Hearing you speak made me more excited about pursuing a future in this field. I've been spending a lot of my free time learning everything I can about technology and startups. I watch countless hours of content from founders, A16Z, Y Combinator, the Limitless podcast, and many others because I want to understand how people build successful companies from the ground up. My dream is to start my own tech company one day, make my family proud, and use AI to help thousands or even millions of people. I truly believe I was born in the perfect time for this during the AI boom, and I want to take full advantage of it by learning as much as I can right now. I'm not asking for an internship or any kind of pay. Just really want a chance to learn and to hear from someone with real experience in this space. You can spare a few minutes to talk. I'd be grateful to hear your thoughts on the future of AI, cybersecurity, and the business side of technology. I'm eager, curious, and willing to do whatever it takes to learn and grow. Thank you again for coming to Meade and for inspiring me today. I really appreciate your time and hope to connect soon. Sincerely, Mohammed Berry, Meade High School Junior, and his email address and his phone number. As an aside, that was a text message. So I got it from a number I didn't know. And first off, I hope I haven't embarrassed him by reading that. But to any young people, and again, in our hope, the audience of dozens we hope to reach, but if you are looking to get the attention of a cybersecurity entrepreneur, business owner, that is a pretty good way to do it. I I felt like $1 million. I was like, that's one of the nicest things that anyone has ever said to me. And also, Mr. Hamill is my father. But they introduced me as Mr. Hamill, and I'm like, okay, I can be Mr. Hamill. I like that. That sounds very official.
This is amazing.
Yeah. And so actually, here's the idea. And this is, one of the challenges I've made is that, making these videos, this is a video that I'm going to be hopefully posting. I've definitely been negligent in posting twice a week. I'd fallen off because business hits. My thought was, again, HoCo Cyber Collective is operating with a budget of approximately $0. So one of the thoughts I had, and I wanted your guys' opinion on it, was offering this young person. One, I would happily introduce him to every single member of the cohort. And honestly, as someone, like, would you agree that's probably the kind of guy you'd want as an intern? Like, that kid is a go-getter. Again, kudos to you for and you've been doing it the right way. And this is a person that I'm actually, and I apologize for what I'm about to say, but I have come to believe, and again, speaking as someone who's looking at a wall that has 2 different degrees on it, I have my undergraduate in computer science, my bachelor's in science and computer science, and my master's in business administration with a focus in information systems. I don't think that a kid like that is incapable of performing any kind of cybersecurity job without having a 4-year degree, a 2-year, 3-year cybersecurity master's degree, which represents potentially easily 6 figures of education that this kid might think that he needs to do. If we treat it almost like a blacksmith, again, to go back to that, where you are an apprentice, you are learning from people who have been doing this sort of stuff. I feel like there is and I'm trying to be very careful with my words here because I don't want to diminish it, a blue collar IT cybersecurity workforce that this country desperately needs that doesn't necessarily require a 4-year degree, but could, with the proper training. Would you agree? And again, I know you've worked in the undergraduate space. Would you agree with that statement even a little?
Colin, 100%. So you don't know everything about me. So I am on the side, still an adjunct at UMGC, University of Maryland Global Campus. That's what they do. They have so many certificate programs.
Yep.
My hands are all about course after course, one course, it's 12-week class. It's primarily undergrad, certificate, and master. That's where it stops. And they keep assigning me, and it's so cool. I enjoy, teaching. And plus, talking about this Mid High, my daughter went there, and they have in Anne Arundel County, they call it Cat North. So that's where they have, the things you talked about, carpentry, et cetera, because not every kid can afford college.
Yeah.
So the county has, and other counties also in the state, have all these programs where the kids can actually, get some kind of apprenticeship and other technical skills so that they can be employable right after high school. So the cyber, there are a lot of certificate programs. What the universities are doing, their job is to attract, and they're making money by charging the tuition. It's online, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm 100% on board with this. Is a great idea.
Well, and thank you. I appreciate that. And just speaking larger, the HoCo Cyber Collective, again, going to what Bob's vision was and that we're trying to implement here is to build this community. The community includes the workers of the future. How many times have we heard about it? There's a 750,000 or whatever the current number is, completely unfulfilled cybersecurity jobs. And you talk to young people and they're like, why would I major in cybersecurity? It's all going to be replaced with AI. That's a terror. Those 2 things are incongruent. And I will throw a shout out to Meade High School. They have, and again, there are really impressive cybersecurity programs. So if you are a cyber business owner, but again, we don't have large amounts of money. That's why we're in this program. We're trying to get startups. So if we're looking to get young people that let's be honest, it's inexpensive, or in some cases free workers who the thought I was going to have that I'm going to be asking him is if he's interested in assisting us with like editing videos. I just reading through it, he's mentioning podcasts and stuff like that. To
Colin,
have someone whose responsibility is, can you book us guests? Can you talk to the head of your cyber, and then
we can start our own, if you like, collectively, like 10, 15 of us or any number of us, start our own certificate program. At some point in my life, I did think about it when I left the university. So you got to run it by MHEC, Maryland Higher Education Commission.
right?
You can, I mean, not universities are not the only ones who can offer certificate programs. If we are the experts, we would just charge them.
Don't say it out loud. Are you saying that these pieces of paper only have value because people assert that they have, because Cisco asserts that it has value? Well, but there would be training with it. And I think that's where I totally agree with the idea of making our own certification or being the glue that stitches together. You mentioned Anne Arundel had, I would bet dollars to donuts that all 23 counties in Maryland and Baltimore City probably have a very similar STEM outreach, get more kids into STEM program. And the sad truth, and this is, I guess, some of my cynicism as someone who I've purely existed in the corporate space. These very well-meaning groups have so much overlap. There are silos where they have almost identical initiatives and they are profoundly unaware of each other's existence. And I've come to understand that there is a certain amount of territory, like, well, that wasn't invented here, this is our version. And so there's political considerations, which are my least favorite requirements, because they're really hard to get around. But it's inefficient. And, they're talking about, in a time of where, grant funding is not necessarily as popular in the federal space, maybe as it was a few years ago, banding efforts together to be more efficient and working together, because guess what? We're all part of the same state, Maryland. We have the coolest flag and we have flagship organizations. And if we all work together, it is shocking what we are capable of doing. And having self-selecting students like Mohammed and hopefully others. One thing I would really want to throw this out, because I wanted to share it while I got you and Josh on here, and Vivek, this is open to you too. Right now, like, I'm the only one who has a show technically because I'm the one who edits it. My vision is anyone in the HoCo Cyber Collective who wants to have a podcast of their own with their own, like Vivek, if you want to have a real estate focused part of the page that you have lead thinkers where you can carve out your own thing, go nuts. I think that's a fantastic use for it, because I've noticed and we all know this, if you go to a web page or a YouTube specifically, and they only have like 20 videos or something like that versus a page that has hundreds of videos, you naturally assume the one with hundreds of videos is bigger, more authoritative. They have brands, like Vivek on his own. Like, again, I love the Hawaiian shirt and I strongly encourage, you know what you should do? You should get a Hawaiian shirt hoodie, just merge it together, or have the AI design one for you. But Manoj, if you want to have a quantum focused one, and then we sort of reconvene.
Yeah.
This is, as someone who is an avid watcher of YouTube, I realize that there's podcasters create content by talking to each other, and then they can have their own shows where, I've got I have training videos for teaching cybersecurity to older adults, baby boomers specifically, using movie references that were popular from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's a planned 10 video. I've got 3 done. The 4th I'm working on. But this is where I need help. I need someone that, frankly, with the time of a teenager. And frankly, I am at the tip of my skis when it comes to doing things with Discord. And, I already see my son, who is 9, who has grown up as a digital native, who has never known a time before. I can, in exchange for getting internships, they can teach us the most important pressing question. what the heck is up with the 6-7 thing? And if any of you have kids, has everyone run into that, by the way? The 6-7
Sadly,
thing?
yes.
Have you seen
My
that,
daughter
Matt?
is all about it.
Vivek, have you run into that?
6, 7, 8 as in
6-7, and it's
what you mean with a 3-year-old? Because my kid's 3, so she
and enjoy it. They
Yeah.
will. So here's what I will warn you. So Josh, you are aware. I'll if you've heard about it and you don't know what it is, because now
Count yourself lucky.
I had a call with my dad where he picked up my son, and it was the most that my dad has sounded like just a confused old man, where he's like, I picked up Ryan, and the temperature was set to 67 degrees, and Ryan started exclaiming, "What's that all about?" And I hear about it on the news. What is this 6-7 thing about? And I'm like, oh my God. And then I remember back when I was a kid and we had our slang like da bomb and tubular and radical, cowabunga. And if someone were to ask me the exact same thing, what does it mean though? It means nothing. It's stupid. And my plan, and Josh, feel free to, because this is the only way we will solve it because it's very annoying. If everyone remembers, what was the quickest way to make something uncool as far as slang is concerned that you can think of?
As a parent, yeah, have your parents do it.
So embrace it. It's as soon as you have school principals saying, "Good morning, kids, 6-7," in the most cringe-inducing way. Oh, that day, every single teenager will stop doing it. And my son, I've told him of my plan to destroy 6-7, and he's very unhappy with me because I think he knows that it's working. I'm spreading the gospel, like, guys, I know it's stupid, but like, start going, "Hey, kids, 67," or something like that, or just make it uncool by embracing it, and then we look like we're cool and hip, but we're really not. I'll get a shirt with just oh my God, that would be perfect. I'll get a custom cyber shirt that has cybersecurity 6-7s all over it.
Well, Colin, I have 2 business ideas. I like what you have, that HoCo Cyber Collection. It reminds me of, so there are a lot of stuff out there like LinkedIn Learning, this and that. People can gain knowledge.
Branding opportunities.
So within that HoCo Cyber Collective, we have all these interesting pieces, like 2 cohorts. I think we are the second cohort. And we all are doing things within the cyber framework, but slightly different. Like quantum, I love it because I got fascinated by it in February and ever since. So that's a cool business idea to build this collective.
Yep. Did you know we have a website? Would you? This is what I wanted to. I want to add every single member of cohort 2 to this website. Again, we're.
And the other business idea I had was, you just give people a certificate, like you come up with a kind of course, I'll say like a course, and price it up like just price it very low, like $100, and give some freebies and 10 experts in different fields. Josh can do database, I can do quantum, and we can do it through HECDA, what is that called? Howard County Economic Development Corporation. They can help us out. Because,
just real quick.
Yeah.
It has been impressed upon us, and they made it. And if you wondered why at the very beginning, Bob was very specific that we're not here to drive sales. I'm probably the reason for that.
Yeah.
And one of the, I will say, funding I jokingly say that we have a budget of $0 because, frankly, we do. This is really have all of you read the children's book Stone Soup?
Mm-hmm.
The metaphor is we're making stone soup. Are you familiar with that one?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so basically it's a story of a traveler that tells a woman he's going to make stone soup, and then he basically tricks her into volunteering, like, oh, the stone soup would be made better if we add some barley and some carrots. And so we get, we're making
entire
something. We're
town,
making
the entire
the HoCo
village
Cyber Collective, and
comes
you're
in,
exactly right. The value is the people that are the members of it.
So HoCo Cyber, let's say you do a $100 piece, week long, like 2 hour each. Certain days, and give them a certificate when they are done with it. We don't have to run it through HECDA. You can rent out a space anywhere.
Precisely. So while we, again, and you guys can consider yourself members, the cool thing about having your own private club is that membership is very at the whim. You guys are members if you want to be. I created the HoCo Cyber Collective as a result, Vivek, you can remember, near the end of cohort 1, we were really enjoying having the opportunity to talk to each other. And then the question of what's next, Chuck wasn't on board quite yet, everything was still in the air, and they were alluding that they were working on stuff, and they were, but they, I didn't want us to fall out of contact with each other, because that has happened for me, that I've done other accelerators and I don't talk to anyone in them. And it's like, guys, and remember, Vivek, originally the problem was we were using Slack as our method for communication. And then like simultaneous with it ending, it's like, oh, by the way, our free trial of Slack is expiring. There is no money to pay whatever for one license or anything like that. So the page literally got obliterated. It's gone. Everything was deleted that we did, which is why we created a Discord page. I wanted to show you just so you can, so these are the new avatars. So here's everyone that, let's see.
Wow.
Josh, there's you.
Hey.
There's you.
Wow.
So
that's so
actually, cool. So now I love sharing my screen. So these
you have so many great ideas, John. I mean, I get so busy. I still work. On my left, I have a big code running, so I keep monitoring it. It's going to run for 4 or 5 hours. So I do multiple things.
So these are the cohort that I made here. Vivek, you can see is, so this is, to let you in on the little Vivek poster joke, is that this was Vivek's original avatar here. And that was based upon his, again, I just took your guys, if you want to know why do I look that way, it's based upon your LinkedIn profile picture. And let's see. So you can see everything's got kind of like a cyber look and feel. So then I did this one, and this is the only way that I found to keep characters consistent. Otherwise, I think Vivek and Angus's characters got merged together into some random homunculus that looked like Angus wearing Vivek. Actually, no, Vivek was just smiling in the corner. Like there was a battle scene where the HoCo Cyber Collective was battling the hackers, and Vivek is in this corner just like, because it's just like, Vivek's just happy
watching
to be
on.
Here. So to make it, because what I will do, this is me, my sausage making, when I go into a planned, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go into my ChatGPT, and can you guys still see my screen?
Yeah.
So here's the sausage making. Here's how I make all those thumbnails that I use for the YouTube. And actually, Vivek is going to get to see the prompt that led to that very awesome poster.
Man, I love this. That's the meanest I've ever
so
looked.
I'm like, hey, so this is, again, how I did it. I said, I'd like to create a new variation wearing a hoodie. And I think it did a really good job. But Vivek's like, I look like a little kid. And I'm like, well, all right, as a joke. Can you please produce a variation where Vivek has a stern and serious look at it? Like he's the kind of guy that you wouldn't want to mess with.
That's almost identical. The stern and serious look is almost identical to what ChatGPT gave me when I asked for a generic cybersecurity adversary.
That's the thing. Almost in the style of a Bollywood villain anti-hero, but with a slightly subdued fashion. This isn't meant to be a parody. So this is what it came up with. I'm like, all right, but they took his glasses off.
So Colin, what you had in the background is actually Vivek's avatar?
So, I mean,
Yeah.
avatar in that I have created pictures of you guys.
Behind
I
you,
call it
behind you.
avatars because it sounds kind of creepy when you say, "Hey, I made some custom artwork of you." So we're trying to not be weird about it. But I was experimenting with. If I show you the folder, this is cohort 1. This is
So Vivek, you were in cohort 1?
yes.
Yeah, I was in
He
cohort 1. Yes.
he
This is
popped in.
Angus Chen. He had a QR code based something. This is Chris Anthony. I think he looks like a total hard ass, which is cool. He's our leader. This is me. I found the easiest way to make a character distinctive, is to wear a distinctive piece of clothing. It made it a lot more consistent. Here is Deji. So as an aside, I always said that because Gordon is a very smart cybersecurity professional, he did not have a picture of himself on LinkedIn. So I had to do some, let's call it light cyber stalking, and found a picture of him on Google image search where he was wearing that. And I said, "You look like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. You're like the coolest one out of the group." And the reason he always seems to have a halo around his head is because that's the way it was in the picture that I gave him. There's Tom, which I think is one of the most photorealistic ones, and he has the most distinctive because he has a branded logo. So as an aside, I can add that. But this was the finale of it. So I'm going to make variations of it so that people's, there's this, I guess, sad Vivek. And then my last prompt was, let's see here. This is perfect. I like to use this as a reference to making a semi-parody image of Vivek in a Bollywood movie poster. The story is about our hero, Vivek, and his effort to protect the real estate industry from attacks from hackers, as well as from missed business opportunities. Based on this initial information, I would like you to flesh out what you think the image prompt for this idea should be. So here it's a Vivek, guardian of the grid. So this,
Dude,
this
how
is
much time did you spend on this? Like, you just
What's
spent
that?
an entire evening or something.
What was that?
You spent an entire evening or something. It looks like
I did this, Vivek. Here's the thing: my silly, stupid ideas have never taken less time to flesh out to a surprising degree. This took me I think I did it while we were talking.
Wow.
It takes me so little time because of the way. Now I didn't have a full. I've already got this conversation going, but all I had to do was, there's an art to this sort of thing. So this is what its prompt was that it came up with, and that's again one of the little tips. Ask the LLM what you think the optimal prompt would be to do this, and then now generate it based on that prompt. So a cinematic Bollywood-style movie poster featuring Vivek as the heroic cyber guardian. And it asked me, do you want it to be alone or do you want it to be focused? I'm like, please include some side characters that each have their own distinctive look. We'll make the viewer want to know more about them. Once you have updated the prompt with this additional details, I'd like you to generate the image for our idea. And so here is the final work here. And I would watch this movie. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I would watch it because I'm in it.
Now what we can say is that this is Vivek dressing up as this character for Halloween. He went to the Halloween store and he bought the costume, and now he's dressing up as himself. But that's the sort of, again, this is the free form stuff that I like to share, the stuff that I've done, because in my experience, it's relevant to other people. And that feel free, again, I have a background image, which now it took me, again, very little time for me to change my background image so that I can hypothetically do things like when I'm talking to someone, I can put their logo up there if I've looked ahead. All I did was I Googled Maryland STEM Festival on Google image search. I took a snippet on my Windows machine. I pasted it into the background image, which I keep in PowerPoint, and I made it, saved a new image, done. Again, it looks like, you can say like, Colin, you spent all night working on this. No. Like if I had actually spent all night working on something like that, yeah, I could have wasted a whole lot of time or paid some, or actually had to pay an artist that's capable of doing that kind of output a non-zero amount of money to produce it. Whereas I just, with the correct prompts, you still can get some very good output, which I then copy, and then you start feeding your output in. So actually, if you don't mind,
can you put that avatar on in the thing
Colin,
on the
I
Discord?
gotta go in a minute or so.
sure. Well, that's it's in the I think I sent it to you directly, but I'll do that. Yeah. So before we all go,
Oh,
and I think we should wrap this up. So I got some work I got to do, but I really would like to get you guys signed up for the Discord. I'm going to hopefully have this call. I might reschedule the call with Mohammed tonight, just because coincidentally I just signed up with I'm going to a junior cybersecurity event with my son that is at 5 o'clock. I don't know how long it goes, and I don't want to cut the thing short with my kid to talk to another kid. I hope he's understanding, but are you flexible to do things over the weekend, or because this is a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's in school and isn't allowed to take phone calls during the week. So
weekend, I'm flexible.
Okay. And Vivek, I'd added you to that.
I mean, it depends. So Saturday and Sunday mornings, probably not. I think Sunday evening would be the most ideal.
I'm going to text him and say, hey, can we reschedule to either later, or honestly, I need to move it to another day and not try to shovel it in, because if it's like a 2-hour cybersecurity event, I don't want to leave early or something like that. So, but no, I'm going to see if he can help us with the video editing of doing these sorts of things. And again, throwing that out there, if you, again, just approach me or just ask, because again, I just happen to be I have the logins. The HoCo Cyber Collective was registered under Sentinel Forge Technologies. I registered it with the state of Maryland as a trade name of Sentinel Forge Technologies. You are talking to the current owner of HoCoCyberCollective.com and .org domains. Vivek fortunately knows how to make a website, so we were able to use. So if you go to HoCoCyberCollective.org, our website comes up. And one of the things on my to-do list is that everyone who chooses from our cohort to join, and again, this is a high, most people would pay upwards of $1 million to join this kind of organization. But this time only, I'm giving it to you guys for free. That is a $1 million value for tax write-off purposes that I will be donating to you, because you can assert things have value. One of the rewards is I want this cohort system to be a feeder into HoCo Cyber Collective. Is that, and I think even with only the first cohort, now with the second, we are forming something that is a very desirable thing to be a part of. There is real value in here. Again, we are perfectly in alignment with the HCEDA. I am 100% on board with their goals. They are not my boss.
Yeah.
We have freedom in that, again, that's one of the reasons why having a budget of $0 in some ways is liberating, because it forces you to be creative in how you do it.
Colin, this is a neat idea. Anywhere quantum fits in and you want me to talk,
cyber, as far as I'm concerned, quantum is you're in.
Yeah.
Again, listen, the winnowing process for me is being accepted into this accelerator. So everybody has a standing invite, because frankly, you wouldn't be in this group if you weren't a good fit for what we're trying to build here. If you don't want to, not everybody was going to want to participate. It's completely voluntary. And as a result, we're not currently paying for dues. Could we introduce something like that to pay so we can have our own mail platform or things like that? My vision is to hopefully form a nonprofit that consists, because one of the things to register a nonprofit, you must have a board that consists of, I want to say, 7 people that are not related to each other.
Let's do that.
You know,
Let's do a nonprofit, and
501c3, and our goal is to further the furtherance of cybersecurity and STEM education, as well as
Yes.
advocating for
Yeah.
business outcomes for Maryland-based cybersecurity firms.
And we can
Done.
try we can try to get some grant funding. I know it's tough from Soros. There are
Hey,
lots of
if you
foundations.
can get grants, I am batting zero. There isn't a lot of grant funding that's put aside for Irish people of Irish descent to these days. So if you can assist with that, it would be of immense value. Because frankly, I've never gotten a single dollar in grant funding approved, and I don't have time to apply because there's so much else going on. And it's people do it. I have not succeeded in it, and that's to your point. All of us, not any one of us knows anything, but all of us collectively know everything, or as far as we're concerned, we make stone soup. We bring our own,
Colin, the easy. I mean, I come from the university academic side, so I mean, I wouldn't say it's the easiest, but one of the easy path to get any money, if you have a neat idea, hook up with one of the um, state universities. There are some 5 or 6 that TEDCO funds, MII, and university gets about 180K for the first 9 months, and then you get another 300K as a company, total 400 some.
So real quick, I love that idea, and I know
Yeah.
you gotta go, so I just want to be quick. I guess can you introduce me and anyone else that wants to join to the correct person to talk to at the university? When I went to school, you guys were called UMUC. You were right on the corner of our campus. So now it's University of Maryland Global Campus, UMGC.
UMGC, University of Maryland Global Campus, yeah.
UMUC to UMGC. I'm like, what is UMGC?
Yeah, they changed the name, yeah.
I'm like,
So
they changed it.
The good ones from the funding point of view would be
and we don't have to discuss it here. Let's take this offline and just let's. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I just don't know who those people are, and so that's where. And again, opening it up. If anyone can think of anyone that we as a group collectively have more value than any of our independent members, I would assert.
I agree. Yeah, because I think you need dollars to do anything. You need money. That's what Josh and I were talking the other day. I was telling him that you can have great ideas in your head, but you have to pay your bills and you got to scale. So you need money.
And this sort of networking, if you are in this group and you're looking to pivot or do, again, Vivek has gone from being a cybersecurity company to the real estate. Pivots happen, man. But it's easier when you have access to people that have levers of power, that are in the government, that can help guide you, as opposed to just going it alone. You can get feedback, give the opportunity for. Oh shoot, Vivek, you didn't get to do your elevator pitch. I just remembered.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot.
You want to do it real quick before we end?
Yeah, sure.
Ding, we're in an elevator.
All right, we're in an elevator. Have you ever noticed that McDonald's is always located in the same kind of area, always on the main road at a signal or at an intersection with a signal? You never see McDonald's next door to your house, unless your house is at a main road next to a signal. The reason is because location, location, location. It turns out that every major retailer in the US has some set of criteria they look for when opening up a new outlet. The problem is finding an ideal location takes a lot of time. It involves going through third-party GIS websites, scrolling across the map, intersection by intersection to find the ideal site. This can take months. Site Searcher AI is building out a tool where we catalog all these criteria across every single land parcel in the U.S. so that the end user can, like a McDonald's, can just search our website for ideal sites all across the U.S. With a click of a button. So yeah, sign up for our website and sign up for our license and start using it today.
Thank you. That was great.
Yeah. So I'll do plus delta. So the plus one, I love the call.
I gotta drop out. I have a 12:30 in 6 minutes.
No, thank you, Manoj. Thank you for joining. And
talk to you later. Bye.
I'll hopefully see you next week.
Yeah, sure.
And let me, as soon as there we go. I'll do my plus. So pluses I liked that you did have a call to action. Although as a Delta, I would refine a little bit just on that sort of thing, but I'm sure that it's good that it's there. I like the story that you told about something that a lot of people, even people outside of the real estate, would notice, like the McDonald's example. And just, yeah, the Delta I'd have a slightly more refined, and maybe include something about how no one else does this or something like that, that these databases don't exist. But, again, overall, that was pretty good. Josh? Plus.
Yeah, I mean, story is good. You might consider tweaking it based on the audience. Yeah, I mean, if you can. I mean, McDonald's is nice and generic, but if there's a local restaurant or a local something that is might be more impactful for the area.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to do though.
Yeah. And just as a quick aside, I just timed it. It was like right at 1 minute. So again, if you're, and again, I would encourage you, because again, thanks everyone for doing this. This is not fun to do, when you're on the spot. But as I told people in the first cohort, the only way to get better at it is practice, practice, practice.
Mm-hmm.
Is to write it down. I had to do this because I can talk for hours. If you can't tell, if I'm uninhibited, it's get a stopwatch and be vicious about 30 seconds means 30 seconds. If you do compete in these pitch competition, they will cut your mic at, if you go over.
Yeah, that was my 1 minute pitch. So,
well, hey, so that's actually a perfect example, and just a little tip to pass on is that I have an 8-minute pitch. I also have a 5-minute pitch, a 4-minute pitch, a 2-minute pitch, and I managed to get it down to a 30 when I was given 30 seconds to do it. And this was almost right before they're like, actually, we're going to give you a full minute now. And I'm like, do you know how hard? Because I don't have to tell you, hour-long pitch, that's easy.
Oh yeah.
10-minute pitch, a little harder. 5-minute pitch, once the lower you get, the more you have to. The way I think of it, you're taking a meat cleaver, or you're carving a ice sculpture, and you're at the chainsaw phase where you are not even close. One of my mentors, it was my first pitch competition, and I was working on it. I kept putting it off when we were going to run through it because I still need to get the animations right on there. He's like, just do what you have. And we timed it. And when we hit the 8.5-minute mark and I still had 3 slides to go and it was supposed to be 4 minutes, I'm like, oh, I see the problem here. And I've come to find that cutting is actually in some ways easier, because if you only have 100 words, let's say, there is no, that's what you have. You can't say, well, I need more. It forces you to do it. And it was a very ultimately positive experience for me. So good job, Vivek, on having a minute. And then, the next is like, what can we cut out? Again, definitely. So again, before we go, I'd like to open it up so it's not just me. Like, Vivek, Josh, are there any topics or any conversations you would like to see us do next week?
Next week, I'd definitely like to talk about what I've been doing. I think this week, my co-founder unfortunately couldn't make it, but I'd like him to come, because I'm thinking of actually, I mean, he's going to be the CEO of this thing, and I'm sort of going into a CTO role now, because there's a lot of development work that needs to happen. But he could, his pitch is a little bit better than mine. Mine is borrowed from what I've heard him talk about.
It's not borrowed. Best artists steal.
It was stolen. Yes.
Good artists steal. Great artists.
I put my hood up, then I just went in and I was like, I'm taking your.
He looks like the kind of guy that people would like. He just takes what he needs. I love injecting. And again, do you watch Bollywood movies, Vivek?
No, man, they got a little too ridiculous for me to.
Well,
I
I have a friend, Alok, who the only reason I know anything about Bollywood and the dance numbers that this movie obviously contains multiple dance numbers where you sing about your desire to improve missed business outcomes and stuff. Frankly, the sheer absurdity of Bollywood is actually part of the appeal for me, where I'm just like, and the fact that you can make artwork like that, which is actually plausible. Like if I told you that was a real movie, would you be surprised? It made the critics top 400.
I mean,
They're a very prolific movie industry.
I definitely see that kind of character on like the streets of Mumbai, going down the streets that you don't usually go and rescuing people and beating people up. There's another movie called
He
Gajni.
plays by his own rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a movie called Gajni that's kind of similar to that, where he's like, it's this guy who, the mob kind of kills his girlfriend, and then he just becomes a super muscular badass, and he just goes around killing people.
So my buddy Alok is a doctor, and so I've repeatedly, and one of his eyes is not very good, and so I'm always. And here is the thing. So GBMC is very much a real hospital. And so I said, this is part of the fun of gaslighting the AI of the fictional hospital known only as GBMC. And so it made this. And once again, I'm like, I would watch this movie. This guy's a badass. And so, we always have jokes about that. That's what AI, and of course, I'm destroying the planet by using kilowatts of energy for my silliness, but anyway. But were there any other topics you wanted to talk about, Josh?
I mean, the thing that I just struggle with the most, and I mean, part of it is just the stage the company is in, is just sales and marketing.
Sure.
How to approach that in a cybersecurity environment? How do you talk to companies that do something else and tell them, get them convinced that they should be scared?
That their baby is ugly and that they're
Yes,
not
exactly. Exactly.
I think and just the fact that I wanted to immediately launch into exactly what you can do tells me that is a great topic, and I think I'll send that out to everyone. But let's sign off so we can actually get to some real work today. But thanks everyone for joining us. Again, this is the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast signing off, and catch you next week.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you for listening to the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast. Stay connected, stay curious, and join us again for our next episode.
Brought to you by the HoCo Cyber Collective.